السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. اليوم 28 من 6 1447 هجري، والموافق يوم الجمعة، وطبعا هي ساعة الفاطمية. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this beautiful moment of our journey in this beautiful sanctuary that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the Aqsa, inshallah. It is the 28th of the 6th, 1447. It is Jumu'ah, and it is the 19th of December 2025. And as we are now concurrently exiting the linear timelines and entering into a much vaster area and expansion of realities that is now imploding in our conscious timelines. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. It is all documented in your scriptures, in my scrolls, in revealed textures, texts. However, it is just subject to how we are navigating through the journey, whether we are dead or whether we are alive. Okay? Now, death to most of you is when you are in a unconscious realm, where you have no idea what's going to happen to you. Okay? That means you are currently dead now, right? That means that your connectivity with your inner world, with your inner realities, with your inner dimensions, with the eternal world, and okay, it has been suspended. Okay, due to you being and I'm being, either we have been placed on a synthetic track onto a virtual reality network, okay, or we are having internal miscommunications with the heavenly divine source. Okay, you as a species, we as a species, we think maut is the only word in the Quran that speaks about the end. Allah uses musibah, Allah uses sakar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses karb. It's all deaths. All deaths. Most, like I always tell you guys, we have no idea what we are reading here, because we are reading it, the interpretation, through the eyes of people who are currently already dead. Okay? No nature is repeated in earth, in this dimension where you are currently living in, and you are only following man-made scenarios of experiences, and you are mimicking it throughout the ages. That is where the people of Ad, the people of Thamud, the Ashabul Mu'tafikat, the Ashabul Ras, all those civilizations, most of us are mimicking into those convulsions of unconscious realms. Okay? Unfortunately, we have to dispel these kind of misleads in our lives today, because of what 3i at last has come. Okay, everything has to happen internal before it can happen external. We are only conscious. Because we are dead, we are not getting our updates and our upgrades. Okay, we're not getting our feeds. We're not getting our necessary subscription upgrades. Okay, When you are alive, people, when you are yuhillahul mauta, when Allah gives you life after death, okay, after you have miscommunicated, after you have tapped into a primarily source of evidence which can no longer sustain you in this incoming yani, uh, discharge of yani, intelligence. Okay, so at this venture, at this juncture, your bloodlines are at stake. As people that comes from your forefathers that should have trained you how to cross the bridge. Okay, because they put everything into you as an individual, as a family member, as a tribe member, as part of the winning team from where they are navigating yani, on the conscious timelines. Because remember, they are awake, they are fully aware of the game of life. Okay, just they have you and I as their representatives in order to understand, would we open the door and would we cross the bridge at this juncture, at the three eyes. Three eyes is one, two, three. The third eye, okay, that has, and after the tremendous struggle through the world wars and through the apartheids and through the economic turmoil and through the racism and through the hostage taking and the tunnel drives and the yani, river to the sea and all these sorts of things that you and I have been modulating in a virtual space. Okay, the money magic, the blood magic, and the sex magic. Okay, all those yani, layers of malnutrition that you as a conscious was yani, um, we were smeared into that kind of realities. Okay, so what has happened over your 6 years in this yani, new dispensation as a new conscious, a new earth, a new future, a new vision, a new reality that will change the landscape of everything that you in your past life would ever have imagined would have occurred in a reality. Okay, as per the Quran. Okay, remember that Sahib al Hadiqah, the person that had a garden, and when the storm came, and he said that he's quite secured in the reality that he knows Ibn Arabi, he knows Ibn Majah, he knows Bukhari, he knows Muslim, but he just didn't know Allah, and he didn't read his scroll. Okay. This again, it's not about comparing, nor is it about degrading. It's about putting things in its place so that we do not yani, mislead the next current incoming Ghulamun Alim people. There is a brilliant yani, innocence entering into the presence. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Okay. If you and I did not get our nasib, it means that we are still having communication problems with the divine source. Okay? We're not listening to ourselves. We're not able to communicate and find peace there where there is salam. Okay? When you find salam, it means that your internal world, your akhirah, your eternal, yani, everlasting reality, yani, has not yet dawned in your quest for truth and to find yani, your purpose. Okay. Now, as most of you are currently serving yani, time in that prison of a physical reality and of a fiat currency, where yani, your monies has now been diverted into Gasara and Nasar. Okay. As you are unaware of what is happening, is that you have been currently in the last 4 years, 5 years since COVID, yani, you've been digitally yani, transferred into the realm of yani, where you can no longer see your money, you only think about the number. Okay, your currency has been diverted yani, and converted, and you left the river, and therefore we are lost at sea. From the river to the sea, okay, we shall be free. Okay? In the sea you drown. Remember, فَأَغْرَقْنَاهُ, and we drowned who in the sea, according to the scriptures, according to the inscriptions. Okay, new and news is just the S that was added to north, east, west, south. Okay, now because of the asma, okay, as you lost your natural yani, communication yani, indicators, okay, you had forged a synthetic language which Allah calls lagha, laghun. Okay, lughatun, you call it in hell, we call it in Jahannam lugha. In Allah's eyes, He calls it lahwun, yani laghwun with a ghain. Okay, it's not something that even the heavens can understand. Our language that we are currently speaking, it doesn't have any yani, components that brings truth into your presence. Okay, so just so that you know what is happening here. Okay, because Allah says لا يكادون يفقهون قولا and لا يكادون يفقهون حديثا. Okay, and when you sit into your scrolls, into your reality, which is the eternal reality, you don't die. You just have, you miscommunicate. You've been taught by your adversary, okay, your fears, and how you expelled your qarin, what was your navigator, your compass, your companion, whatever you want to call it. That's the reality of the case, okay? Now, as we, yani, as the soul tribes, what we call this, the soul tribes in the Quran is the Bani Israel. That's what the soul tribes is. What's happening on earth has got nothing to do with what is happening in the dunya, in the Jahannam. That's the reverse psychology where you react, but you have no idea why you are reacting in the negative and not in the positive. Because in the divine realm, you only have positive energy. In the hell, you hold malice against people you have never ever were supposed to have met. You only saw them on a virtual screen. Okay? So the digital spell which you as a civilization was yani, synchronized into and de-signed. Okay? You had a sign, you were assigned, and then you de-signed from that yani, path of where you were supposed to meet your mothers and your fathers that is really yani, in need of your connection. It's sad. It's sad what you did to your parents. Wallahi, because they are good people. They were good. You all mostly come from good roots in the city. Okay? Now, when we are now in this spiral, you all are in there. You are just unconscious because you are only living in a body that moves, but there's no ruh. There is no ruh in it. You have no connection with the divine. You are in a karb, or you are in a musiba, or you're in sakar. Okay, sakarat mean you're intoxicated. You are following things that has no reality to where you should have been in the present now, where your ancestors, your mothers, your fathers, your millions and billions of yani, great yani, fathers, where you yani, in their bloodline was given right of pass to come to attend the ceremony of the changing of the order and the upgrade of the human conscious, the operational system that was being replaced, okay, where the old يعني the reality that you became infatuated with, the money, the debt, a debt world that you thought is a reality, and you build a religion and you build a truth, and that does not exist as a truth in your next incoming generations. The Generation Z will not accept your truth. I've told you people this many, many times. I'm not going to say it again, okay? Because from this moment onwards, it is yani fasfahi safha jameel. Okay. Now the conjure. Okay. I would call it in classical in English would call it the aggregate, the master is now in her order from the 19th, yani before, because the moon of Rajab is now yani in her order. The Rajabiyya is now in order. Ra Jab, okay? The Jab is coming from the Jib. That is where the Jawab comes in, okay? Now, when Allah speaks to yani, the angels, okay, the angels are who? The angels are you when you know who you are. Okay? That's your higher intelligence, that's your mulk, that's your generational wealth. That's generational wealth. Not something that has no value in Jahannam, in your illusional track. That never had that was never part of the game, you guys. We were not supposed to get carried away with the numbers, because that numbed us down. Okay, that washed us down. We have no idea if you're going to say that, because there's no God in your lives except the God that controls you, which is your money. Okay, you can live without Allah, but you can't live without money. That's your God. Sit. Okay, let's accept that for one moment. Don't think about yourself any longer, people. Everything that you thought about yourself was destroyed as a reality in the presence of your children when COVID invaded and corrupted your realities forever. Okay, it will never go back to where it was. Most of you are in denial, okay, because of hanging on to religious garments and religious emblems and logos. Your adversary has been activated. When Allah says to وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ فَقَالَ أَنْبِئُونِي بِأَسْمَاءِ هَؤُلَاءِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ قالوا سبحان الله قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Okay. Now, your understanding in your previous lives before you died, let me remind you, if you don't understand what is happening here, you must at least understand who is dead and who is alive here, because the only thing that holds the truth is the Quran, because that's the word of Allah. And when Allah brings life into the kalima, okay, you see kalimat, mat comes from maut, okay. Now that kalimat can die and a new ruh can come in. Now, who is the kalimatullah and who is the ruhullah? Is the Isa, the third eye. That is the 3-eye atlas that is now coming into the conscious. That's what is happening. Nothing is happening outside, people. Nothing is happening in the cosmos as what world is made. You're only seeing it through a virtual screen outside of you, but it is exactly on her time. Okay, this is the firaq. Wa Qur'anan faraqnahu. That is what the Quran says now. Now we are now in that age where Qareen and Quran, you're coming into al-ana. Those who knows the asma. The asma is not words here, people. You listen to what I'm saying. Asma and sama. What's the difference? It's only the alif. Okay? Asma is not the word, it's the frequency. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءِ is the frequency. When you detach from that decayed lie that you and I forge as a reality and build it into something which is constructive, when it gets destroyed in a truth, we cannot come to terms with it as a civilization, and hence we resort to an artificial respiratory intelligence source that makes us into robots, which we are mostly currently living in that dark room. Okay, that's why Ramallah, Hulibatul room, it's the squid, it's the cube that you have been magically spelt in over this last 5 years. Okay, it's all happening in the scriptures, in your psychology, in your neurological patterns. Okay, and how you had not been afforded the Ismail, yani revelations in your path. Ismail activates the next layer of frequency of data. Okay, but it's sound based, therefore you have to clear your heart's drive. Okay, your heart drive here is your body, your body. That's the heart drive. Okay, if there's heavy metals in it, if you're eating things that you don't know where you got it from, if you're watching things that has no relevance to your present, where you are, and you digest it and it is consumed, then you will now internalize that reality and it will flip to the dark spectrum. Okay, يولج الليل في النهار ويولج النهار في الليل ويخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الحي الميت من الحي. You have no enemies, no human being is your enemy, no country is your enemy, no movement, no political party is your enemy. That was just the distractions in this yani, path, in this jasara, in this jisr, in this yani, transition that we are currently in our human conscious form. Conscious, we're speaking, where we never die. Okay? Now at this moment in time, those who can enter into that secures the bloodline of the past yani, family lineage. That's what it is all about. It's about finding eternal yani, and a continuation from a dead world and to reunite with your angelic family in the realm of Akhirah. Okay. Akhirah comes from the word akhun. We people, wallahi, without any yani, mubalagha, we understand the sound notes, not the words that you were spelled in. That's why you don't know how to speak the words of Jannah. You don't have a language in Jannah because you don't know how to tap into that frequencies. Okay? Because you're only conscious. You're only going to come, you're always in that space. But whilst the distractions and the entitlements and the positions and the fictional yani, fiat currencies had yani, put you into a frozen mode. You see the spice root is where ice. The word ice is in spice. Okay, and that was a ship that was in the India that came from the British. Okay, now you never ever saw that, but you only pictured that in your mind. Sometimes you saw the picture, sometimes you saw the movie, but it never ever existed in your presence. Okay, but because you went and I went and I heard it from there and that one said it and that one, but you and I was not present. Yani, غاب عنا الأنظار. We were not supposed to have seen it. We're not supposed to have known it in the first place. But because we have to taste the taste of pain for us to know the value of life. Okay. Now, the bitterness of the truth is where the comfort is when you come back into your conscious eternal realms. Okay, where you will understand and know everything that is happening if and when you know who you are. Okay, not everybody will get access to it from the soul tribes because each one has their purpose. Most importantly, at this moment in time, whom has retained their third eye, okay, who has seen the new life, who has made the dead alive, okay, who has cured the illness all within themselves. That's Isa. That's the dimension that you now have to get in order to clear the swamp. Right? It's all inside of you guys. It's the data, it's the food, it's the blind following, it's the religious and economic hubs. All of these things had this expelled us from getting into what is now currently going to reinstate our authentic yani, currencies, our sovereign currencies coming in. Okay. For those of us who are alive, not those of us who are dead and waiting to die. There's no death. You people are in a different world. Okay. You fear something you don't know, and that is the shaitan. Okay. You are your own shaitan because you created that hole. You put up that bricks, and that is where that currency is now trying to give you a new stimulator to believe there's new hope. People, if you know who you are, and good enough, you don't know at this moment who you are because the heavens says, Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaqa al-Insan, Allamahu al-Bayan. What you believed in the last 1,000 years, yes, has no relevance with what is coming. Because you only knew it in a past, but you couldn't see into the future because you were absent in the present. Okay? At this venture of a civilization now, okay, a فريقا يعني ولولا نفر من كل فرقة, there is now this division of consciousness that is splitting us as a evolution where the next incoming so-called that brother, the allegory which you came to know about Surah Yusuf, when a cup is found in a certain it's in a cycle, okay, but it is just set into a bag, into what they call it a bida'a. They call it in that surah a bida'a. Bida'a here comes from the word bid'un and fa'uda. Okay, now the Quran expresses the only part of that which you understand that this Quran came. Look, the Quran is not the kitab. The kitab of Allah is something which is enormous, people. It's massive. It's massive. You can't end it. ولو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر. Okay? We went and become specialists in this, specialists in that, but we couldn't read our scrolls. You couldn't die in a tafsir, die in al dooie mense, but they was yourself supposed to mark your analysis according to the scroll and the book that was inside of you. Now, our ancestors, they gave us these tools. They truly, wallahi, we can't lie to Allah. That's why we have access to it today. Okay? And that's why we are in that radius of getting and reciprocating and resonating with this incoming upgrades. Okay? سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. So the words now has been given, we're going to understand the medium of our exchange now on a different hertz, okay? A different medium wave, you know how the radios are playing. Now, in terms of reciprocating what your thoughts are, where does your thoughts come from? Do you think you and I create our own? No, it's what we are. It's how the bayan is being expressed because of what we are not being able to receive from above. Then we have to fabricate and recycle that data, and it becomes artificial. Okay, that's mostly that's why we eat the things that we are currently allowing in our bodies, because it's all recycled from laboratories, people. It's not coming out of the Mother Earth. And I'll give you an example. If your body is in synchronicity with the pulse of the earth, okay, you will not find yourself taking something over your lips that will, that your your body will reject. You will not attract it. You will not be in that shop. You will not be up in front. It will not be on your circuit. It will not be there. That's how the heavens and shields you in that. That's the Sa'imin. That was the Ramadan that came. Okay, and that was the Tanzil of the Quran that came down for that period. And now those who were recipients of that cup of the Malik, okay, that was yani, the Yusuf yani, explanation of how a certain tribe leaves the past, yani, yani, the convicted yani, past, okay, you can't leave it, and that new yani, brother, he gets the akhun and then he gets the ra, okay, and that's when 2026 is now coming in, right? Now it is the firaq. The Quran is going to now unveil a different perspective of a reality that would have no relevance to the stories that you made yourself believe who you were. Okay? Because now we are entering into the age where the Bani Israel is now going to set a standard of education and perception and of knowledge that as how you and I cannot enter into this realm that is incoming now, which is the Jannah. This is the Jannah because you're alive. You understand what is the medium of exchange. You are reciprocating that data in the now, okay, from the source, okay. Now, your incapacity and my incapacity to have upgraded our hard drives in order to reciprocate that upgrades of our software now, the new programming that is now happening so that we can see the other side of the equation, okay, and find the balance with the ancestral wisdom and sovereign cultural, what do we call this? The cultural rituals. Okay, we got to take it there because we cannot take from another nation in this time of a transition where your wealth is being exchanged, where your sovereign wealth, your generational wealth, that's what you're gonna need along the line. What are you gonna take with you? $100? And your good deeds doesn't exist, people. It's in the past. You are going in with a false identity because you don't have your true sovereign knowledge. Okay? That's the patkos. Hy is die patkos wat julle met saam geneem het. Right? So by now you know the game. You know the game of life. Okay? You know that your children has already decoded, even if you are sitting kop in slat kop. Okay? But we know where the dynamites were planted in the minefields. Hoor wat ek sê. Wat 'n visabine was afgeblaas. Okay? Wie loop op Rijalaini en wie loop op 4 en wie loop op 3. Okay? That's where leg and al is legal came in, and that is where it crippled you to get a false leg. Right? You are not your physical bodies. You are conscious. You came here in conscious. You leave here in conscious. Where you got caught up, and could not escape, or die draadjies en die dorings op die boom. Om die wol deur die te trek is baie swaar. Dit het hulle altyd gesê is die pyne van dood. Dood is nie seer nie. It's the fact that you live and believe that you're alive, but you don't know that you're punishing yourself in death. This is real. We have to do this at this juncture on the 28th, going into the 29th now, right? So, mashallah, tabarakallah, most of the keys was given to the soul tribes, children. Most of it. They understand. They entering. They coming in. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Those that comes from the authentic bloodlines of the sovereign tribes of Bani Israel. Dapat kan niks if they classified you to be a Christian, a Jew, a Hindu, all the different goedetjes, that doesn't exist. What exists is that you, as an individual, must understand where and who and what is your purpose. Okay? So, mashallah tabarakallah the asma is the elevation. It's not the words, because you have to see it from the third eye. That's the three eye at last is finally here. Okay, it's in your conscious. It's the alignment. It's an alignment that is happening. Okay. And with the split, there's going to be a dark side and there's going to be a light side. There's going to be a nur and there's going to be a dark. There's going to be a night and there's going to be a day. There's going to be a right and there's going to be a left. Okay. So when the heaven says وَإِذِ ابْتَلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنَّ قَالَ إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا قَالَ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي قَالَ لَا يَنَالُ عَهْدِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Okay. The greatest destruction of the past generation was they didn't want to understand the word. They didn't want to feel what they didn't want to follow what they feel. They actually just was captured in their outer outer sounds. Okay. Now, what truth separates us here is the fact that the definition of God, of Allah, that you hold and your children hold is night and day. Because the programming that was instituted and operated on your system because of the virus that attacked your motherboard, and you did not have any firewalls up, okay? So you had to buy synthetic programming, okay, a synthetic part, right? And obviously, wat die Windows opgegaan het en jy gebruik 'n synthetic pad, dan weet jy nie regtig van wat is daai pad gemaak het. En daai pad gaan vir jou mos nog gaan vir jou stuur na 'n dooie pad. Okay? And that is where we as a civilization had collapsed. Both in truth, both in academics, both in all hemispheres of a sustainable self, okay, in the self-determination of a sovereign cultural identity. Okay? When there's a split in the atom, okay, when there's a new Nawa coming out, okay, then you have to remember at the time that there is a Hajj in the heavens. Nie wat hulle julle charge, jy didn't is verniet, didn't in sama, in earth you have to pay for your sins, okay, because that's hell. But in heaven you have to release yourself of those clamps. Okay? Then what goes through the process, fardan. Everyone has to go alone as if he's a king, right? So that you can retain your authentic vibes and your authentic frequency, and you can understand the Quran for why it came, not to make a nation, not to make a man. Why must Allah give you a man when He can give you an angel to guide you? It's real, you guys. It's real, okay? Because you live in the past. That's why you cannot come. Love doesn't have a timeline. The reason why your parents, your culture had love injected into your frequency of a prophet, it's because of the prophecy that he was going to bring you to dawn into that beautiful environment, okay? In your conscious. With your body in that. Your body is a carbon vehicle. It's a sayyara, okay? You can either want to believe that that is you, but I can assure you, even now when you believe that that digital photo is you, it's only you believing it. Nobody else believes it. Because you cannot talk. You cannot do things that you want to because it's a dead picture. You are only being stimulated there. But it's not you. It's something in a different dimension that it is out of your control, and you can switch it on and you can switch it off. So you must understand, like, the crossing here is not an easy crossing in civilization, because we must realize that we all signed up to come into this transfer of this generational wealth. And when Ibrahim said, "Wamin durriyati," what about my real seeds, my seeds? And he said, then the answer comes, "La yanaluhu ahdi zalimi," those who got infatuated with their entitlements and with their wealth and with their achievements and with their positions and with who they are affiliated with and what they are carrying. Guys, don't look at that. That's taban, don't look at it. Okay? So the transfer of generational wealth as what you had come to understand it to be dollars and to be gold. People, what kind of gold are you going to use in Jannah? Of gaan sy maar net nou maak 'n contract dat sy gaan 'n bietjie wees in die Jahannam. The moment you have that in your mind, yani, in the Quran it says, what does it say now again? Allah speaks that indirectly about hal 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 ittakhadtum ala Allahi ahdan. Did you make a deal with God to say, kyk hierso, ek gaan my pak vat en dan gaan ek in die Jannah? When you have that in your psychology, in the level that you are currently looking into because of the doubt and the fear and the ignorance, okay, because you're only using two eyes, the third eye is not yet up, three eye atlas has not yet arrived at last, okay, then basically what you are sanctioning yourself is to go back to a realm in a physical. When you are in your when you leave your physical, okay, then you come back again into another hell experience, okay, just in order to fulfill your coffin. It's all in psychology. It's got nothing to do with what you and I understood of a new reality that is dawning today. Okay? Again, before we close off here this evening, mashallah, tabarak, this afternoon is it's the Fatimiyya, Sa'a, on the Jumu'ah, on the 19th to 28th of Jamad al-Akhir. This we invoke to the soul tribes, okay, the Bani Israel. وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولتعلن علوا كبيرا. Okay. We made Bani Israel, white people, whilst we had to claim that right if we knew who our ancestors were. If you know who your ancestors are, who your grandmother, where that ruh comes from, subhanallah, you didn't have needed a digital smart. You didn't need a fake or an artificial identity. You would have known where you belong today. Your children, your grandchildren, your next generations that is now going through this metamorphosis in a cycle, they will have to detach from you and my realities and alams. There would be no crossovers at this moment. Illa masha'Allah. Okay? You don't love your children physically. Get out of that. Okay. You have to understand the purpose why they came. Okay. Now, when you and I don't know mine and your purpose, now how are you going to understand somebody else's purpose? You've got to measure them on the gauge of their performance in their spiritual conscious realms, not on their money magic. That is not counting in this time, people. Those tribes that has lost their directions, okay, that is facing the wrong qibla at the moment. They couldn't make the tahweel of the qibla to the aqsa. That's why they take you to the outside aqsa, because you're supposed to go up. Right is up, right? That's the Ahlul Yameen. Now, they will get the new languages that will come into the expressions. Okay. Beyond your understanding, because you thought that it was the white man, the colonialists, and all this. But I want to bring you back to the fact that julle het julle eie language gehad, julle moedertong, dit was nie Hollandsie, is wat jou ma gepraat het met jou. That's your mother, that's your lisan on Arabian Mubin. Okay? Because you feel it, that's who you are, that's how you communicate. But when the colonialist, when the invader puts a grandma grammar into your understanding, then you think he knows the language better, but he's just putting you into his closet. Okay? That's when you get captured into the synthetic education that you call academics today. But when you know you are dead, then you will eat anything for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But when you're alive, you get your piecemeals proportion. Okay? That's inside. Now you must ask yourself, why did religions not teach you this? Why did your prophets not tell you this? Why did all these things not happen? Because it was all the time inside of you, not outside of you. Only the truth lives inside. But you went and authenticated and found sanads and found chains. But het in jou kop gesit het daar met hulle en hulle silver chains. Okay? All in the mind, people. All about the mind. Allah, you only know Allah through the cleanliness of your ideals and ideas and your lifestyle. That's when you are always in the Jannah. Always. You can't leave the Jannah. Once you eat from that tree that Adam and Hawa created from, that is when you get diluted and you go into a different ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ السَّافِلِينَ. Okay? So that's the game of life, people. Look, we are on our side as a soul tribe. If we condemn anybody, we disqualify. If we judge anybody, we are out of the race. Okay? That's why we don't engage in these things. We just want to put up the wall here so that the next generations and the incoming and our children from our biology, okay, that they know that their parents acted accordingly. That's for us is important because where we come from, people, we come from royal bloodline. That's no joke. You can't play with it. That's something in a different order. It's not got about wie ken hoeveel boeke jy gelees. Wie was altyd honest to his scroll en gefollow wat sy ma vir hom gesê het en sy pa vir hom gesê het en hoe het. That's just how it is, guys. Okay? That is the Jannah that you were searching for, and that is what the forefathers and the ancestors of this land where we are found ourselves in this conscious timeline. This is where, mashallah, tabarakallah, and we give our lives to them. We give our lives to them. Khalas, because wali lewe as hulle nie daar kan wees. Okay? Because that is the people that holds our fort. Okay? Mashallah, tabarakallah. So when you heard that Islam will start, Islam sal strange begin and it shall return strange. Now you are living in that time when you think and you thought what you thought was real and truth, it has been flipped in a reality. The Ice Age, the gladiators is coming in now. It's not about fear now, people. This is now about رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله. And the Hollywood stars that I told you about the end could never tell you about the beginning because they did not know who they were and where they are. They could only use dead man's tales because they were not given entry into this asma. Okay? They were not given that. It's not about boasting. Not all of us are given it, be given it. We just want to set the record straight here so that the truth is said in the Jahannam, okay, in this dimension that we are currently still finding a exit, right? Where you have always found a contradiction is that when you are at yani, when you hear of someone's janaza, for example, okay, men gaan nou dood. In the world that we are currently living in, like ons reply gouder na dood as wat ons apply na lewe. Okay, as hy persoon iets markeer while hy nog lewendig gewees het, then you and I wasn't prepared to help him. But nou dat hy dood is, nou wil hy sê Allah yarhamu, Allah gee hom 'n jannah. You are dead and I am dead. That's not how we operate in Jannah, people. Because when that person is now in this new realm and you don't have direct communication with him, it means your code was cut. Ze gaan dieper in because that person had a need and you couldn't fulfill it. En nou sit jy met al die fiat currency, jy sit met alles op jou en dit gaan almal geliquidate word nou because the currency het gechange, the current has changed, the sea current has changed, it's going into the rivers current now, okay? It's going into the real value chain where it was always supposed to have been from the beginning, okay? No one is rich there. Everybody has what they need and there would be always enough for all, okay? The competition, all that kind of things, that doesn't exist in this realm. And it's coming over everybody. It's not just for us, it's for everybody because like die wat dit nie reg gedoen het nie, hulle gaan gereprimand word. Die wat dit getry het om te reg te doen, hulle gaan geassist word. Wala yansurullaha may yansuru. Okay? In real time now, not amongst the dead, not in the graveyards that you are believing is real. And if that's not real, people, we are still just trying to get up and see the iceberg here, but we were iced here, we were frozen. We couldn't see that there was a ice in spice, there's a ice in notice, there's a ice in police. In so many words there are ice, and that is where we iced up and lived in an Iceland, okay? And that is how they tied the land, and now we want to believe that there is a Taiwan. You understand what I'm saying? Taiwan. Remember who wanted to bring in the same God and just tie him up all the time into different modules? Okay. Now that's what the brothers of Yaqub comes to do. So most of us follow that God, okay? Which is a God. Because you must diffuse that. That's your intelligence. God gives you that right to do so. Nevertheless, people, what is important now as the Adhan goes now, as the Adhan goes now, is that, what is nice for me is just the fact that our children, our next generations are not going to live the synthetic lives that we had and forged and not created for them any sovereign sanctuary in the digital space. Ons het hulle net so gaan gooi vir die honde en vir die wolwe. No parents, no community, no people who claim religious sanctuary and religious rights throws their children in the woods. We saw what those last generations did. And as idolic as they were, they lost their hearts for their own. What does the Mother Earth do and the heavens do to those people? Ask yourself. Okay? Ask yourself. Right? So this is an update, a weather update. After the 19th, it is now Rajab, and we're going to go tomorrow evening to see the light in the dark. Okay? In the Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan, that 3 months is going to be very critical times in Earth. The way I read this map, right? There's a lot of positive things. If you are on the right ship here, you're going to see mothership, your motherland. You're going to get to your promise, and you're going to get your promises fulfilled, not in a synthetic way. ولا تمد عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواج, but in a reality, that has always been there, but you and I had exchanged it for something which was temporal. Right. You are living in that time. We are living in that time. Allah's promise is pure, people. It's complete. It is fulfilling. It's just us that keeps on doubting these things because of our density and our and in a way, it's also stupidity, also arrogance and also ignorance. So we ignore things and it builds up, and then more as ignore the persoon who cancer kry, Allah maak it easy. It's all that they veiligheid that you couldn't bring out. That's what caused the cancer. They veiligheid. They ridges. They danas. Sanad, danas. Okay? It's your belief systems that have brought you to where you are. And all is just in your mind. I'm telling you guys, it's just the level of where you have reached. And when this new dispensation came in now, you wanted to be with your children, but your children cannot be with you in this ongoing civilization. So we go one way and they go the other way. They miss us. We miss the boat on this slide, on the spiral. Right? It's just unconscious, people. We only live in conscious. That's very important at this moment because that's how we're going to get the soul children to reunite with their ancestors. Because hulle is dood, ons is wat dood is. Daarvoor weet jy hoe om te stuur signals en wanneer om nie vliegannetjies te stuur. Right. Anyway, people, enjoy your evening. May Allah Ta'ala grant you barakat to Ummi Radia. MashaAllah, she's now in Medina. May Allah Ta'ala grant all our forefathers and our ancestors, also ukhtis and also Buddhas and all the beautiful souls, people. It's real people, It's a real gems of life. Okay? And it's nice to go somewhere without anything, but you know already what is awaiting. Okay? Just ask yourself the question, wat gaan sy nie huis toe? Met niks nie, maar wie wag vir jou? Anyway. May Allah accept all your sadaqat and barakat, and may you find your soul tribes there. Please, inshallah. May Allah give you that hidayah and that beautiful awakenings so that you can come back to your mother nature and not go and knock and pray for forgiveness and still find that guilt and that doubt and that fear building up the anxiety and causing the cancer. And you die at the end of the day in your physical. Okay. Allah bless you all. Shukran to your parents, my parents, to our imams, people, our imams in Dilan, onze khalifas, onze muallimas, gevaarlijke. They were instrumental. They're still serving their purpose because they are given instructions to keep the balance. They are still doing it under directives of the ancestors, that they are still making that certain commitments and certain scales they are balancing in the symphony of our universe. MashaAllah. May Allah bless all of them, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا مصطفى كل شيء لله يا نورا من نور الله يا مصطفى